If you've ever heard the answer, I'm busy or I'm too busy or try later when you go talk to someone in the workplace and you don't want that answer to happen again, stick with me here. I'm John with Broad Prospecting. Glad you're back to the channel. So, one thing you're going to learn in the workplace, if you haven't already, is everyone is going to be busy all the time. Now, some people say that to keep people off their back. Obviously, some people are actually going to be legitimately busy, and legitimate busyness probably only happens once a week or once a month, or maybe once a quarter, even depending on the job, and that's very limited in time frame. So, except for the few cases where someone is legitimately busy and they have a good excuse for it, quarterlies are coming up, they have to post some meeting presentation for their manager, whatever it might be. Outside of those rare instances in which you can just schedule around that and try later, if you get the right feedback and you're diligent, the typical response of "I'm busy" is basically just get out of my face. You're not my priority. Okay. So how do you become the priority? Well, first let's start with how do you not become the the lower priority in the scale. So people who cry wolf is the number one thing you gotta watch out for. So crying wolf is like going to someone and complaining about your job, always wanting to get promoted and pushing on people when you haven't been in your job long enough. I would say if you're in a job for 6 months and you're asking to get promoted and you're not significantly into your career already in that specific type of role, that's going to be a cry wolf situation. Kind of they're getting tired of hearing it. If you go to somebody and say, hey, this process we have sucks, blah, blah, blah. If you're that person that goes in and says, hey, at my previous company, we did this. Why is it here? Why is it broken here? And no one cares what you did at your previous company. You're not there anymore. That's good advice for people that are new to companies generally, unless you have like a productive process or system that you can bring with you forward. So things like that will just rub people wrong that aren't adding any value are like crying wolf. People get tired of hearing it. They don't want to hear from you, and they're going to tell you you're busy. They're busy, so they're going to blow you off. The second thing that's going to happen is if you go to people that are outside of your realm and tell them things like, "Hey, I need your help with X, Y, Z." Well, two people up in your management chain from you is going to say, "Why the hell isn't this person going to their manager?" That's a good question. So you got to watch out who you go to in terms of like appropriateness for this task. And then the second thing is you don't want to cry wolf, right? Now, how do you actually get in front of somebody if they say they're busy? So they're busy is not a no. They're busy is not right now. That's what they're telling you. If they said flat out, no, I'm not helping you with that, well, you got other problems and we'll go there later maybe. But if someone says they're busy, the real answer you need to say is, okay, cool. When should I schedule for on your calendar? Immediate response, because they're leaving the door open to scheduling later or finding another time later. That's what I'm busy right now means. Okay. So Outlook has this great tool called Scheduling Assistant. If you haven't used it, you can learn how to use it. It's great. And go to Scheduling Assistant, find a time when they're open, and say, hey, it looks like you're open at 3 o'clock, and say it's noon right now. Can I book 15 minutes with you at 3 o'clock? Always go with a time increment that is smaller than a half hour. Why? Almost every meeting in a corporate environment gets scheduled for a half hour plus. People like these nice round numbers. If you say, I want to talk to you for 15 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes, people are going to respond to that more positively because you're not taking as much of their time. And if they already weren't inclined to give that time to you, the less time you ask of them, the better. Okay. A second response you could have instead of, hey, what would work and then schedule on Outlook is say, well, how about I just give you my pitch right here? It'll take me 1 minute and you give me feedback and maybe we'll follow up later. Okay. Most people are not going to reject that request from you unless they have a legitimate thing they need to get done like right now for an upcoming meeting, right? Or if they're going to go to a meeting in the next 30 seconds. So that's a good second idea you could approach with, depending on the person, depending on the situation. And I would always go to somebody if you're going to ask for something with the full pitch of what you want, the discussion, the topic, the outcome, and also the short version. Hey, here's 30 seconds of question, and you now have 30 seconds of response that I can get out of your face in 60 seconds. That's a great way to approach somebody. Just have that in the back of your pocket. And the third thing you can do if that happens is say, hey, I'd like to know what you're busy with because I wasn't aware we had interesting projects going on. Ask them for feedback about their life and their job. Why? People like talking about their situation. Not everyone can go home and talk to their wife or their best friend or their dog or whatever and have that work out for them and get their story told. Most people don't get to tell their story about what their day was like, what their work was like. Maybe they're doing something interesting, they're actually proud of it, and they'll tell you for a long time what they're up to. So you can either engage with them on, hey, what's a better time? Or I'm going to minimize the amount of time that I'm going to take out of your day so that my priority ranking isn't going to get defunct by the fact that I might take up the next half hour of your time. Or you can schedule a different time with them and try to schedule a shorter time. Or you can change the subject and say, oh, cool. What are you busy with? I'm just curious, your job might be interesting, or didn't realize we had, big projects going on, or could I help you with what you're busy with right now? That's also a great way to approach if you don't want to go the other two first routes, and get them engaged. Not only will you build rapport with that person, but maybe you'll find something interesting you can learn about, or a project you can get involved in that you weren't aware of, or maybe this person will just appreciate that you're not always asking them for something. People don't realize it, but the lead person in a department or manager or supervisor is constantly being asked for little things all the time. They're being asked by upper management, they're being asked by their direct reports, they're being asked by their departments. They're always being asked. So if you're the person that comes and asks for their time all the time, you're one of those not really crying wolf, because you might have a legitimate reason to be asking, but you're still another person trying to take their time from them, and they're trying to defend against that. So you got to think about that when you approach people. I would say default to rescheduling in the future, or hey, how about just 60 seconds? Those are the best two answers. And you can always build rapport and chat with people later, but start there. You should probably get better results almost immediately if you implement this in your work practices. I do. I spend a lot of time at work talking to people what they're doing, understanding their job, trying to figure out how I can maybe help them, talking to them about what matters to them in their job, because it's a really good way to, one, learn what's important to you, because their job is always going to impact you in some way. And two, build the rapport where next time you come to them, they're going to say, oh, what does this person want? They might not be asking me for something. They might be socializing with me. They might be offering me help. And you'll get way more. Yeah, sure. I got a minute for you, if you make that rapport and you build that relationship ahead of time. So, things to think about. Catch you later. Hope to see you in the next video. Like, share, subscribe.